And it is time, once again, for...
The Horror Guys!
Yay!
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Brian.
We're going to talk about some horror movies we saw this week.
5 movies and 5 shorts.
Some shorts, yeah.
Some of them are good. Some of them not so much.
Not so much. Yeah. It wasn't a week.
Sounds like a pretty typical week.
Well, this, I think, was a little less on the favorable stuff this week. But anyway, we got the brand new 28 Years Later, if you're wondering about that. We can tell you a little bit about it. And also 2025's Dangerous Animals. And, continuing the new stuff, Flesh of the Unforgiven.
So, 3 new movies
which
this
is
week.
The most awesome title.
Flesh of the Unforgiven.
Yeah. And then we're going to go back in time to 1941 with Bela Lugosi in the zany Spooks Run Wild.
Maybe not the greatest title.
Yeah. And 2017's War for the Planet of the Apes, they're horror adjacent.
I wouldn't want to live there.
I wouldn't want to live there. So, yeah. And then we got 5 short films, too.
All right.
Yeah.
And as always, the show is brought to you by Horror Monthly Magazine, which you can pick up at horrormonthly.com. Pick up all the long reviews, all the short reviews, all our commentary, full synopses with spoilers on every one of the movies. So if there's one of the movies you want to know about, you just can't find it out there anywhere, you can still find out what the whole story is about. And that is available right now. Issue number 47 at horrormonthly.com.
47? You mean somebody's got to buy all 46 of the previous issues to catch up?
You could.
Yeah.
They're all out there. Every one of those old issues is back there. See, we did one issue on actually, we've done it twice now. Christmas movie issues.
There's a lot of horror Christmas.
There is.
You wouldn't think such a happy, joyful holiday would be associated with horror.
I can't think of any other.
Second only to Halloween.
Yeah, I can't think of any other horror entire month.
I mean, actually, there's probably more
so.
Christmas horror movies than Halloween horror movies. That actually take place on Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, issue number 47 is just everything we saw last month, which is a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And another announcement we mentioned a couple weeks ago or last week that we've got a new website out there, flashfright.com, which is nothing but short films.
Neato.
Some people don't have time for a 2-hour horror movie. What was the Planet of the Apes was like 2.5 hours.
So, yeah, those Planet of the Apes ones are a major investment.
Yeah. But if you're just into the short films, go over to flashfright.com and watch them there. Quick, easy, and very convenient.
Yes, it is.
Of course, if you're into the long films, you go to horrorguys.com, or if you just want to read everything, go to horrorweekly.com. So many sites. But there's links in the show notes.
Okay.
First up.
Yeah?
28 Years Later from 2025.
So this is the third film in the series. There was 28 Days Later and then 28 Weeks Later, and now we're at 28 Years Later.
What's the sequel going to be called?
28 decades later.
Directed by Danny Boyle, written by Alex Garland. Stars Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ralph Fiennes. Hour and 55 minutes. Trailer in the show notes.
Okay.
Spoiler-free, what happens?
Well, this has a quite different tone than the first 2 movies, and neither of us really thought it was improved for the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. After 28 years, assuming the rest of the world is just fine, which I think is the scenario here.
Sounds like it.
It seems like they would be handling things differently by this point. We weren't satisfied with the realism of, it seems like they'd be doing this or this or this or this, and we kept coming up with things, But anyway, Brian thought it was kind of on the dull side. I wasn't bored. I was never bored, but neither of us liked it that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was at least interested throughout, but the first 2, I think, were way more entertaining and scarier, and,
Well,
all around
we're
better.
told as the story progresses that basically the UK... I think at the end of the previous film it had moved to the mainland. But it got fought back off the mainland.
No, I don't think it ever made it to the mainland, did it?
Didn't it? I thought it did at the very final scene.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Maybe.
I don't recall that. Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's not on the mainland. It's just on UK. The entire...
So they have the entire UK under quarantine, absolute island quarantine.
Yes. But there are small little islands and pockets of civilized people that are still living there, fighting off the bad guys, living the simple, no electricity farm life because the world has fallen apart.
And kind of thriving. Some of the folks.
But the rest of the world knows everything. Satellites are still up there. Technology is still out there. The rest of the world knows these little islands are alive. You'd think they'd be airdropping them supplies or radios or something.
Yeah, making
but
them
the village
like
that the characters come from have had no contact with the outside world in years.
They're just having to survive off the land and, the old primitive, basically medieval times.
Yeah.
That they're living in, and they're doing okay. They're on an island that's off the coast of the main island. And where this group of people that we
but they're definitely
on.
Not allowed to leave, and they're not allowed to have visitors. But you'd think they could at least airdrop some stuff in.
Airdrop some supplies to them?
Also, if the disease was as deadly and ravaging and rampant as they leave it on, I can't believe that the world would just let them stay there. Sooner or later, somebody's going to escape.
Yeah,
and I think they would have nuked the whole island to glass.
It would be such a major project to completely quarantine.
You couldn't go in and just shoot everybody, like an invasion. But from a distance, you could wipe out the whole UK without too much trouble, I would think.
Well, they'd have repercussions for the atmosphere and the rest of the world, too. They couldn't just nuke it because fallout and clouds and radiation. And
that seems less dangerous than this disease, though.
The disease is pretty bad and pretty
Fallout's
contagious.
Bad. It may not be the worst thing.
Real contagious, real fast. Yeah.
All right, so the movie starts out with a group of children watching the Teletubbies as the air raid sirens go off, and the parents all get really upset. This is right there in the trailer. You've probably already seen this scene.
Mm-hmm.
As Jimmy and the others continue to watch, we hear the adults in the next room being eaten. The rage zombies soon get everyone in the house other than little Jimmy, which we see him run off into the woods or something. Well, we're told that the rage virus was beaten back from Europe, but it destroyed the entire UK, which was left as a kind of quarantine zone. That was
28 years ago.
And credits roll.
28 years later, here we are.
Yeah, and we open on young Spike and other villagers getting ready for work on their farms and such like that on the island. His father is Jamie, who makes an amazing-looking breakfast.
That did look good.
Here in Michigan, I would love to get a full English breakfast. They just look so good.
Yeah.
You see the pictures of those things.
It did. And this, gives you an idea, the little village, and, they're doing pretty good. They're doing all right.
But not great. His mother, Isla, is sick.
That's the trouble. There's no medicine. There's no hospitals. And something seriously wrong with her.
Yeah, there's something not quite right with her. It looks like mentally. Yeah, and she finds out that Spike is going to go out hunting for the first time today, and she doesn't react very well to that. Even though she probably already knew it, she's forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Spike and Jamie are going for Spike's first hunt, and everyone in town cheers them on. It's a big event.
Yeah, they make periodic expositions to the main island for meat and supplies and so forth.
And there's banners in the streets and parties. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
Spike's only 12, and kids don't usually go out till they're 14, so he's an exception. Jenny, the village leader, explains that if anything goes wrong, they're on their own. They leave the island over the causeway that can only be used during low tide. So when the tide comes in, the causeway gets flooded and the zombies or anybody that was out there would get washed away.
And when the tide is low, all they have to do is keep an eye on this causeway to keep intruders or zombies from coming over.
So it's kind of a ocean defense.
Yeah.
Well, the two find a stag's head stuck way up on a tree, and Jamie gets spooked. He says it's time to go back home. Too late, they run into a whole horde of crazies, the fast kind. And we find out that there's multiple kinds now.
Yeah, there are.
The chase is on. They soon run out of arrows and hide in the attic of an old house. Well, we cut back to the village where people are hanging up Welcome Home Spike banners. We hear from Jamie about alphas, which are bigger, stronger, and smarter than the usual zombies. Night falls, and the two out in the abandoned house can't go home. They eventually make a run for it and make it to the causeway, which is just slightly underwater. The alpha chases them across the water, but the sentries at the village shoot it. They go inside to the celebration, where Jamie's got a girlfriend on the side. All right, so we get to see a little bit of the world and what's going on there, and there's alphas, and there's fast zombies, and there's slow zombies, and
there's
these
ones
island
that crawl
people
around and eat worms.
Yeah, the worm-eating zombies.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, that sets our stage. All right, so we've already asked some of these things. Why would they allow it to continue? Why wouldn't they just flatten the country? You might say it's because of the survivors, because like on the island. But if that were the case, why wouldn't they airdrop food, medication, or at least a radio to them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the technology still exists. They could have some, drop a generator or 3.
Yeah.
They could have some electricity.
Well, the main plot of the story is about Spike taking his sick mother off to find this doctor who lives off in the mountains. And the doctor is really something.
Mm-hmm. He's a crazy guy himself.
He covers himself in iodine to keep from catching the disease.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you get that? He's been doing this for 28 years regularly.
Bathing himself in iodine.
Where do you get that much iodine?
That's a lot of iodine.
All right, and then there's an alpha involved we got some questions that are spoilers. I'm not going to talk about that.
No, don't do that.
The acting is fine, and the sets are cool. The doctor's compound is really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Other than random shots of dirty, naked people running around, there really wasn't that much zombie action in this. It wasn't like the first. I don't believe we see anybody turn into a zombie in this movie. They're just out there.
Yeah. This is how it is now. Yeah.
The Jimmies at the end made no sense and really wasn't much of a payoff after seeing Jimmy carved into everything along the way.
I thought that was pretty hilarious, though.
I did too, but it made no sense.
It made no sense.
There's no purpose to it being there, except for maybe
the crazy.
The sequel.
The apocalypse has happened. Embrace the crazy.
There's a gang of Jimmies out there, and they're all wearing tracksuits, gold chains, and white hair.
They're all dressed identically. Yeah. And they're all named Jimmy.
Yeah, all of them are Jimmy, yes. Yeah, check the credits to see all the Jimmies.
We're all Jimmy.
Overall, I like you said, though, I thought it was pretty dull.
Yeah,
it was a drama, family stuff, not a lot of zombies. The zombies were very backdroppy.
Surprisingly low-key on the horror. Yeah.
Anything to add?
I appreciated how the arrows were used appropriately. They go out with a quiver of arrows, and you see them use up the arrows, and they run out of arrows sometimes.
This is not Legolas's arrows?
This is not Legolas. This is not Robin Hood. I recently watched a Robin Hood series, and
infinite arrows.
The arrows just kind of seem infinite, yeah. They're not always careful with that in things. They are in this. A small thing, but I appreciated it.
All right. Well, one thing you're not going to use those arrows on is sharks.
No.
2025's Dangerous Animals is up next. Directed by Sean Byrne, written by Nick Leopard, stars Hassie Harrison, Jai Courtney, and Josh Houston. Hour and 38 minutes, trailer in the show notes.
Is it just Jay? I think it's just Jay Courtney.
What did I say?
Jai?
You shouldn't spell it like that.
He spells it funny.
Yeah, okay, Jay then.
He spells it like an Australian. Because he is.
Mr. Courtney.
Yes. And he's been in lots of stuff. He's been in the Terminator series, one of the movies, and he was in Spartacus, and he's done tons of stuff. Mm-hmm. And here he is as a friendly fisherman.
A little too friendly.
Yeah.
Well, we both thought this was very reminiscent of Wolf Creek, with an Australian serial killer who has been at his work for quite some time.
Except instead of out in the dry, arid desert, he's out on the ocean.
Same thing, different guy.
Yep. Similarities, yeah.
Tucker, the baddie, finally meets his match when he pursues Zephyr. It's a little on the predictable side, but it was well made with a good cast, and it entertains.
Yeah, it's all right.
This was better than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I mean, you know where it's going to go. It is very predictable. It follows the formula, but it was still entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, entertaining along the way. Yeah.
What happens?
Well, there's a young couple walks out onto the pier. Tucker shows up for Greg and Heather, who want to hire his boat. And he makes a joke about no one knowing why they're even here. No one knowing they're even here.
They mention that they're staying at the hostel and they missed a tour group and they're doing this instead because they got nowhere else to go.
And these are perfect people for Tucker.
Nobody's going to miss him.
Yeah. Well, then he takes them out to swim with the sharks, which isn't as horrible as it sounds, but does end up that way. On the way out, he tells the story about how he was attacked by a shark when he was 7. And he shows them the scar. Tucker dumps some chum overboard to attract a shark, and as the young people watch the sharks arrive, Tucker sings Baby Shark to calm them down.
Not gonna go
Heather
there. Not
Heather
gonna
is
go there.
especially antsy about this, and it's one of them metal shark cages that gets lowered into the water. So that happens, and they go down, and there are a lot of sharks down around there. But Heather eventually calms down and enjoys the show, and they have a good time until Tucker pulls them up. And when Greg gets out of the cage, Tucker stabs him and pushes him overboard. "Welcome aboard," Tucker says as credits roll.
I figured he was going to cut the rope and let the whole cage sink or something like that, or
I was wondering
open the
about that.
cage and let him. Yeah, that's not the shark tank bit went well.
Yeah, that part, yeah. Well, Zephyr and Moses are at a convenience store. He needs a ride and convinces her to take him. Turns out they're both surfers and start talking about that. And they end up going home together for sex. Escalated quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah. Well, very early in the morning, Zephyr goes out on the dark beach and gets ready to surf. She left her fin key at Moses's place and borrows one from Tucker. And then, as she texts Moses, Tucker grabs her from behind. He sedates her and ties her up and then loads her into his truck. Moses, he arrives at the surfing spot, parks next to Zephyr's van, but there's no Zephyr. She's nowhere to be seen. A while later, he sees her van being towed and goes to the police. And the police at first aren't sympathetic. Well, meanwhile, Zephyr wakes up, chained to a bed next to Heather, who's also chained up.
Oh, we thought she was dead.
No, just Greg was. Well, they're on Tucker's boat way out in the ocean. Heather tells Zephyr about what happened to Greg. Tucker comes in with food and water. The water is drugged, and both girls pass out.
Hilarity ensues.
It does, yes.
All right. Well, as we said, it's essentially Wolf Creek on the ocean.
Similarities.
It's even got the same accents.
Well, Australian.
Those Australians, they like their serial killers. Jay Courtney is very good here as Tucker, totally crazy and still very fun to watch.
He's good in that.
I don't know about the whole videotaping while a shark eats you part of it, but I'm sure there are plenty of serial killers out on boats in the ocean.
Might be.
It would just be so easy.
Might be.
It's all pretty predictable, but it's well made, looks good, and does not get boring. Overall, I liked it.
Yeah, like you said, I didn't expect to like it as much as I did.
It's a serial killer movie.
Yeah.
It's a shark movie.
Bringing
But it's very well done.
two great tastes that taste great together.
You got your shark and my serial killer.
Yeah.
All right, 2025's Flesh of the Unforgiven is next. Actually, it is Joe Hollow's Diary of Death presents Flesh of the Unforgiven.
Oh.
Makes it sound like it's going to be a series.
Perhaps.
Directed by Joe Hollow. Written by Joe Hollow. Stars Joe Hollow.
I'm seeing a trend here.
With Debbie Rochon and August Kais. Kiss, maybe. Hour and 28 minutes. I could not find a trailer for this anywhere.
I looked and didn't see one.
Yeah.
So you'll have to trust our opinion, I guess. Or, keep looking.
Well, honestly,
we didn't link to one, but we do.
Usually when there's no trailer, that tells us something.
Yeah. This wasn't our this was
Not our pick of the week.
This was not our favorite of Joe's works, Joe Hollow's works. We've seen his previous stuff.
Have we?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of it, maybe.
I think, yeah. Well, anyway, spoiler free. Couples' struggles are made more complicated by supernatural forces, and this reminded us both a little bit of a take on Hellraiser.
It has a taste of Hellraiser.
Yeah, a little sprinkle there, with more elements of strange romance and relationship complications. And there's some decent work being done here, but this one didn't really grab either of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't connect with us.
We watch a man in a bondage suit watching weird torture porn on a small TV as we get flashes of manga pages. There will be no becoming, warns a voice as the man begs. The man is beheaded and his body burns. Elsewhere, a woman wakes up. Was that a dream? What was the deal with the manga pages? Did
Just thing of weirdness in the dream.
we see that again?
I think in the dream, in a dream.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, we hear about this guy called the Death Dealer, who searches for lost souls and leads a legion of demons. In return for facing your fears and embracing them, you survive. Credits roll.
Okay.
Jack and Sienna Russo go to the house by the lake, and it's a very cold winter's day. They're having some marital problems, and we cut to Vivienne, who's talking to her mother on the phone. She has made some bad life choices. Jack wants to be a writer, but he has no inspiration. Sienna dresses in a bondage suit to get him in the mood. His publisher wants 2 pages by Monday or he's fired.
That doesn't sound like so much.
Doesn't. Someone sends him a videotape and a note labeled Inspiration. Well, we cut back to Vivian, who gets all made up in a nice dress and then shoots herself in the head. Okay. Jack plays the tape. It's a video of a leather-clad man in a mask tormenting a woman in a white mask. The man then slaps the woman several times. Vivian wakes up, and a muscular man in a mask appears from a portal. "Your becoming can be so beautiful. Become my Jezebel," says the deep voice we heard in that pre-credit sequence. She needs to embrace her fears and become before she runs out of time. So apparently this is a just slightly after death situation for her.
Mm-hmm. And we got a little bit of Cenobite vibe going here.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Sienna talks to Jack about the strange man she's been dreaming about. We know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
The death dealer's weird, screechy voice assistant, Lavinia, tortures the man who wants more time. And I don't know what was up with that.
Which?
Screechy voice, Lavinia. She was annoying.
Yeah, I think she was just trying to be demonic or, unique. But it was kind of a
bad anime character.
Well, anime, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit over the top.
Okay, so...
But I think it was a deliberate choice.
All right, well, Jack and Sienna are against the death dealer and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a sort of low-budget riff on Hellraiser without all the violence and special effects. The music selections in this film are just horrible.
See, and I didn't even notice
I noticed the music when it's bad.
I saw this note that you left afterwards. Like, what music? I don't know. It just didn't even register to me.
The filmmaker thought we wanted to hear that droning, moaning mush.
Okay, I must not have either not minded it or, it just blended in and fit. I don't know. I don't have a complaint about the music.
There's certain types of music I don't like with movies.
Okay.
I mean, I don't care how loud or obnoxious it gets sometimes, but it just didn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
But it was written, directed, produced, and starred Joe Hollow. His acting isn't terrible here, but his directing leaves a little bit to be desired. The movie's kind of slow. The editing and the acting all feels a little bit off. And a lot of the scenes just feel like an excuse for women to wear bondage gear.
Maybe it is.
I've had trouble writing books before, but nobody ever dressed up in bondage gear to get me to inspire me.
Hmm.
Unless it's that kind of book.
Yeah. It depends on the kind
but
of book you're writing. I don't
think that was the kind of book he was writing.
Story, yeah. No, I don't think so. Yeah.
And the twist at the end didn't really save it for me.
No. Yeah. Costuming and effects were especially good. I am gonna point that out. And I don't know. I mean, it's a lot to write, direct, act, produce. Maybe more delegation would help. I wonder.
I thought his acting was fine.
Yeah.
I think the directing, he just had too much going on.
That's kind of the impression I get. That he's not bad, but it just too much. Mm-hmm. Trying to do too much. I don't know. I'm only theorizing, but anyway.
Well, one that we liked even less, Spooks Run Wild from 1941. Directed by Phil Rosen, written by Carl Foreman, Charles R. Marion, and Jack Henley, stars Bela Lugosi, Leo Gorcey, and Bobby Jordan. Hour and 5 minutes. And you can watch the entire thing on YouTube. We've got a link here for it. Not a trailer, the whole film.
And this was, the poster says, with the East Side Kids.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you're familiar with Little Rascals, East Side Kids.
Little Rascals were kids.
Yeah. These guys started as kids, and I think the Little Rascals started getting kind of old too. I don't know. There were a couple sets of Little Rascals.
Some of these guys were in their almost 30.
But these guys, continued on, well into adulthood. But it's that genre of humor, where it's a group of kids and it's zany. There's some zany adventure or some bad guy who's turns out to not be so bad, or if you've seen any of these zany old black and white, they're all kind of the same.
Despite the title, there's a complete lack of spooks here. There are endless quips and zany adventures as the gang encounters Bela Lugosi and his sinister sidekick. It's actually really dated in the humor, And everything else about it, too, doesn't really hold up that well for entertainment.
Early inspiration for Scooby-Doo and the gang.
I can picture audiences just laughing their heads off at this in 1940, but oh my goodness.
Not so much now.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think I chuckled even once.
Oh, I chuckled. Really?
Okay.
I had some chuckles, but yeah, it's really not that good.
Tell us about it.
Well, 6 boys get arrested, and we have boys here in quotes because they're not boys, but
they're all in their 20s.
They're supposed to be young, and yeah. We're going to camp, not reform school.
Oh, that's right. I guess they're supposed to be teenagers then.
Yeah, they are supposed to be. Well, they're loaded on a bus, takes to a small town in the mountains. 3 of the boys plan a jailbreak for that night. But first they go to the soda shop. They hear a radio announcement warning about the monster killer, who's left a trail of 3 inhuman murders. Muggs, Danny, and Glimpy brags about eating monsters for breakfast. Jeff and Linda are the camp chaperones, and they're not much older than the boys. Well, they aren't happy with the delinquents that they're stuck with. He's studying to be a lawyer, and she's a nurse.
And neither of them seem to want to be there, so I'm wondering why they are. Why are they there?
A job, I guess. But she's a nurse. I mean, a nurse.
Well, the nurse makes sense at a camp.
A nurse is needed there. They're doing jobs, but they're not excited about them. Yeah. Well, at the camp, night falls, and the boys hear howling outside. What if that killer guy is prowling around here? Well, there's a creepy man and a dwarf arrive in town with 2 caskets.
Oh my, it's a vampire, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Nardo, who is played by Lugosi, and Luigi are moving into the Billings estate, where no one's lived in 10 years. Dr. Von Gorsch comes to town, and he's here to catch the monster killer. Von Gorsch wants to keep his arrival a secret.
Yeah, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. Well, a man sees Nardo and Luigi in the woods and shoots at them, but they vanish. Muggs, Danny, and Glimp sneak off into the woods. They meet up with Scruno, Pee-wee, and Skinny out there.
Where do they get these names?
Yeah, these nicknames.
I want to be Scruno.
Yeah, what the heck? Yeah. Well, the man who just shot at Nardo takes a shot at Pee-wee, but Pee-wee doesn't vanish. He gets hit.
So we got a shot kid.
Yeah, Pee-wee is hurt, so they drag him up to the house on the hill looking for help. And Luigi answers the door. House is full of cobwebs and all the usual haunted house paraphernalia. Inside, Nardo talks about the monster killer in the newspaper.
All right, so these kids go to the haunted house that is run by Bela Lugosi and his dwarf sidekick. What could happen?
His mini-me, yeah.
Well, okay, as I said earlier, some of the boys look to be about 30 years old. That's still a common thing today.
Mm-hmm.
They were first advertised as the Dead End Kids and did 7 films that way. Later, they renamed themselves to the East Side Kids and did 21 films.
But wait, there's more.
And then they eventually grew up and became the Bowery Boys for 41 films. That's a lot of movies from some guys who aren't the least bit funny today.
It was funny then, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was little, my dad said, watch these Bowery Boys, they're really funny. I didn't think they were funny in the 70s.
Well, in the 40s, it was the height of humor, yeah.
Lugosi and his little mini-me sidekick are fun. Angelo Rosito, as Luigi, doesn't say anything at all here, but he played dwarves and midgets in over 100 movies and TV shows over a very long career. He was like the main villain in Wild Wild West.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he was in a Star Trek episode.
Ton of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
He was in the movie Freaks. Brown.
One of his early ones.
Yeah,
yes.
one of his early ones. Todd Brown, was it?
He had a very long career.
And then if you remember the Master Blaster in the.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, the Beyond Thunderdome movie. He was Master. Yeah. So he had a long career, long life.
Yeah, we kept waiting for the spooks to run wild, or even walk slowly, but there were no spooks.
There were no spooks.
It's only an hour long, but it's not funny, not scary, not terribly entertaining.
Kind of interesting in a historical archive kind of way.
I guess.
Yeah. It was not hilarious.
Nah, you can skip that one.
But I did chuckle. Yeah.
War for the Planet of the Apes from 2017, directed by Matt Reeves, written by Mark Bombett, Matt Reeves, and Rick Jaffa. Stars Andy Serkis, Woody Harrelson, and Steve Zahn. 2 hours, 20 minutes. It's an investment.
Yeah, it is.
And there's a trailer in the usual place. Spoiler free.
Well, the story continues about 5 more years after the last movie. This is the third one. It's pretty consistent in quality, keeping the entertainment and driving up the action. Things wrap up pretty well, but of course leaves it open for another movie in the continuing saga. Basically, if you enjoyed the previous 2 movies, you'll probably like this one too.
Yeah, and more of the same.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's very good.
If you hated the first 2, you'll hate this. If you liked the first 2, you'll like this.
Yeah, pretty much.
We are told that 15 years after the plague, the remainder of the U.S. Army was dispatched to eliminate the Apes. Under the command of Colonel McCullough, the Apes went into hiding, but they're preparing to retaliate. We see that the humans have some apes working with them. Suddenly there's a lot of shooting. Lots of apes die, but they still manage to beat off the human invaders. Some human prisoners talk to Caesar. The apes who followed Koba now help the humans. They release the humans, and then Rocket and Blue Eyes arrive, saying they've found something, a potential new home beyond the mountains. However, there's too many to make the journey safely the way they came, so they need to find a safe way out of the woods. That same night, Caesar realizes the soldiers are a lot closer than he thought, closing in on their family encampment. He silently alerts some of the fighters and watches as the colonel himself arrives to kill all the group's children, including Blue Eyes. Winter, the big white gorilla, has betrayed them all. Cornelius, Caesar's little son, is the only survivor of the massacre. Caesar leaves Cornelius with Lake, Blue Eyes' widow. Caesar sends all the apes away with Maurice, but he plans on going after the colonel personally. He ends up taking a few friends, Rocket, Luca, and Maurice, along with him. They go to a camp where they think there might be soldiers, but all they find is a scared child who can't speak. Maurice decides to keep her because she wouldn't survive on her own. Every good ape needs a pet human.
Kind of like a pet, a little bit.
They soon find another camp, this one full of soldiers, as well as Winter, the treasonous ape. Winter explains his story and asks for forgiveness. Caesar's wife and son are dead, so Winter knows he's screwed. Well, the apes find some people half buried in the snow after being shot by humans. Why are the humans shooting their own? One of them isn't dead, but he can't speak either.
So there's a reason. The disease is still working. The disease that makes humans dumb, apparently it's not burned itself out.
Nope, it makes them mute and less intelligent.
Yeah.
They get robbed by a bad ape, whom they catch and start calling Bad Ape. Bad Ape offers his coat to the mute girl. He escaped from the zoo, and when the plague hit. Maurice says he didn't realize there were other smart apes out in the world. They could be everywhere.
It could be.
It is a planet of the apes. It's not a San Francisco of the apes.
That's right. There's actually apes in the wild and everything. Yeah.
Bad Ape knows of a former quarantine zone where the colonel and his men might be hiding. Bad Ape gives the little girl the nameplate off a car, Nova.
Yeah, we only see California in all these movies.
Yeah.
What's Africa like?
Yeah.
And, Asia and, places where there are native apes that caught all this disease.
And they're all human-sized chimpanzees and stuff. What about those little monkeys over in Africa and places?
Lots of little apes.
Are they smart too?
Little apes might have got it, yeah. Maybe. Not monkeys. They never really mention monkeys. Tail, the cat.
How different are they? I know the difference is a tail.
Generally, apes don't have a tail, but, the difference is very close. But they never mention monkeys. We never see monkeys or, monkeys behaving. Are they still monkeys or, are they affected one way or the other? We don't know. I don't think they're ever mentioned in the...
I want to know.
Yeah, I want to know too. Yeah.
It continues the story in an action-packed way and also explores the evolution of the planet of the apes. The humans' plague is evolving to make them stupid and mute, and we know how that's going to end up. Yeah, we've seen that first movie. We lose a few characters from the previous films, but we gain a few new ones too. The Colonel's motivations are pretty clearly explained. He's not wrong, he's just on the wrong side of the main characters.
Yeah, he's kind of evil and crazy, but he's not entirely wrong.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Actually, very few of the humans in these movies have been wrong, because we know how it all turns out in the end.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Considering that only 1 in 500 people survived the plague, there were an awful lot of soldiers in that final scene.
It did seem like it, yeah. All in the same demographic of young, fit men.
Yeah.
And
that's only
the majority.
500. They're
1 in 500. Yeah, 1 in 500 survivors. Like, where's all the old people and women?
Well, they stayed behind, but still, that seems like an awful lot of
A lot of
500
soldiers.
times that. Yeah, it's like crazy.
Yeah, the number seemed a little off. Yeah.
I suppose if they showed up with 12 old fat guys, it wouldn't have been so dramatic.
Yeah.
All right, time for some short films. First, we're going to start off with one called 1033 from 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Written and directed by Alexander Maxim Seltzer. Stars Alison Louder, Andrew Chown, and Hannah Galway. A little over 10 minutes. This one's on YouTube. We like it when they're on YouTube.
Yeah.
Ava goes to the crowded bathroom at the theater. She sits in her stall, listening to the other girls gossip about the craziest things. Well, some of that gossip was pretty good, too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was realistic.
Suddenly, she hears gunfire outside, then inside. Then the gunman comes into the restroom and kills everybody but her. What does he want?
And the door is locked, and he's right on the other side of the door, and they have a nice conversation. You.
Yeah, we watch as she negotiates for her life.
This is tense and creepy.
It's very well shot. We only see Ava for most of the film, and a few of the other girls right at the beginning. We never see the gunman at all, so he's kind of left to our imagination. What does he want? Why is he doing all this? Will we get answers? So much suspense.
And I looked up 1033, it seems, is
the police call.
A generically emergency call.
Oh, okay.
Like something big and bad is happening, keep the channels open, close in, where details to come. I think it's like a generic emergency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then, also from 2021 is The Bowl, directed by Levi Morgan, written by Jamie Green and Levi Morgan. Stars Wade Brasington, Jamie Green, Levi Morgan, and Hannah Pendergrass. A little over 7 minutes, and it's on YouTube as well.
This was funny.
This is a good one,
This was good, yeah. Jamie confronts his roommate about a bowl he ate out of and didn't wash and put away. It's not just any bowl, Wade. It's your bowl. There must be order. And he seems really upset about the dirty bowl until Wade says...
Wasn't me.
Yeah, it's not his
my bowl.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was the third roommate upstairs. So they both go and interrogate him. Or maybe it's even worse than that.
Where did that bowl come from?
Yeah.
Well, I've had roommates like Jamie. Let me tell you, that's the truly horrific part of this story. Still, none of the three had any idea what was in store for them, but at least they were happy in the end.
Yeah.
It's very funny. There's no special effects, no jump scares, no blood, and still it managed to impress, mostly from the great dialogue.
Mm-hmm. And they do a nice job with it, yeah.
Yeah. Go and watch this one, and then make sure you put away your dishes.
Yes, definitely. Put away the dishes.
The Bowl. Followed by The Gate from 2022.
I thought this one was especially cool.
Uh-huh. Written and directed by Matt Westrup. Stars John Mawson, Robert Rao, and Tryphene Russell. 11 minutes. YouTube also. And we get a bunch of experts and eyewitnesses who discuss the strange transformations that have been taking place with seemingly random people. They painfully change into distorted, monstrous versions of humans and are often violent. As the experts testify, they start to figure out what's causing all of this. Will it happen again? Spoilers, you betcha.
Yeah, the weird creature effects are the main draw here, and they're very well done. It probably CGI, but it's really nicely done. That blends in really well. Not all the creatures look the same either, which makes it that much more fun to watch. Careful what you order online.
And all the time I was thinking about those ads we always see about hymns.
And there's worse companies than that. I mean, at least Hymns is somewhat respectable, with there's some really shady ones you can buy stuff from.
Oh, yeah.
And just, buy this. It's all natural. And if you inject it every day, you'll, like, what? You're just going to buy this off some random company? And
well, just this morning we saw an ad for Cheech and Chong's CBD gummies.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They're selling those through the federal mail. There can't be anything in those. It would be illegal.
Yeah, you'd think.
I mean, I'm not going to, I mean, marijuana gummies and stuff. I mean, here in Michigan, they're legal. You can go right to the store and buy them.
But federally,
But you can't
through the
ship
mail.
them through the mail.
Right, yeah.
So whatever they're selling,
Isn't.
it ain't real.
It's not the real stuff. It's something else.
Send all your hate mail to
maybe
Kevin.
and maybe it's some horrible chemical cooked up in the lab that really has an effect on you. But
Well, in this case,
yeah.
2024 short film, Lady Parts, written and directed by Ariel McLeese, stars Ava Hayes, Liv Mai, and Jake Holly. A little under 15 minutes, and it is on YouTube also.
This is a very wet one.
Iris, a high school girl, has an erotic dream about her friend Ellie, and it makes her wet. Very wet.
Very unnaturally
This
wet.
can't be normal, can it? Well, she decides to go to the big party where she hooks up with Ethan. She prefers Ellie, but Ethan's right there, so why not?
He'll do in a pinch.
They sneak into the bathroom and do their thing,
In a dry tub.
and she gets wet.
Yeah, and he drowns.
They never turned the water on, did they?
No.
Nothing wrong with getting a little moist, right?
Wrong. Yeah, this one's something.
Well, this is...
And I saw a comment from the filmmaker how many gallons of lube they used in this.
Oh, my. It's well filmed and looks good, but they don't really try to explain it. It's most likely an allegory for awkward teenage years, but wow. I want to know what was going on through Ethan's mind as this played out.
Uh-huh.
It was getting wet in here. It's very weird. Good, but weird.
Good and weird, how we like them. Yeah.
And that last one is going to be 2024's The Man with No Mouth, written and directed by Mr. Friend. Uh-oh, a pseudonym.
That is such a friendly sounding name, though.
It's an animated thing, and it's voiced by Mr. Friend.
Mr. Friend.
Little under
So
10 minutes on
friendly.
YouTube.
Claymation.
It is.
And retro.
Retro claymation. We watched a retro claymation one a couple weeks ago that was pretty good. This is very similar.
Yeah.
Little Timothy's not very smart.
Now, this part I don't get. He's smart enough to use a computer, turn on a computer, bring up his homework. But what's the problem? Like 3 times 3? Or it's
30
just...
divided by 5 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, the first
Well,
problem
his parents
is...
could have set the computer up for him.
The first problem is, yeah. They're very simple math, but he's struggling with it.
Well, he's up late doing his math homework, and he just can't get the answers. Much to his surprise, a strange man with no mouth shows up outside his window and wants in. Timothy's not that dumb. He doesn't let him in. Still, the man gives him the answers to his homework by holding up how many fingers is the answer. 6.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has no mouth. Wait, how's he whistling then?
How was he whistling? Yeah.
The next night? Well, now they're friends. What could go wrong? Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And this one is done with stop motion in the style of an old VHS tape. It's very retro, and it gets all the aesthetics just right. I like the whole computer. It looks like an oldie.
Mm-hmm.
We have to wonder just how not very smart little Timothy is, but then we find out how not very smart he is.
We do find out, yeah.
The ending was no great surprise, but it was fun anyways.
Yeah, it's a fun little one, yeah.
And that's it for this week. Tune in next week when we will have more movies, more shorts. I think we've got some really exceptional shorts next week.
Yeah, I think we do.
Just finished watching those earlier, and yeah, they're pretty good.
Yes.
And of course, you can read all about them at flashfright.com for the shorts, horrorguys.com for the longs, or Horror Weekly for everything. And until next week, I'm Brian.
And I'm Kevin.
See you next time around.
See ya.